Alfred Moro Godlings. Well, it's one of those beginnings. Everybody made every kind of noise possible. That's okay. So this is a spontaneous, spur-of-the-moment thing. In your bed. When I was a little girl, I used to have nightmares all the time. And Michael used them, he came into them, and wakened me in the dream, showed me how I could feel my body responding in another world that my consciousness was not focused in. I would feel the fear in my physical body in Earth venue, and I would become lucid in whatever dream world I was in. And this really helped to learn to take control of the dream of the world that I was in, whatever world I was in, and this one too, eventually. I would waken from the fear and I would begin to fly because I realized dreams were mine, the dreams I was involved with were mine, which meant I was in charge. So I just decided monsters couldn't fly. Only I could fly in my dreams at the time. Anyway, many times after I learned to fly away from monsters, Michael would come to me and say, "My Cailín, why are you running? Why are you flying away?" And I would say, as the monsters disappeared farther and further away on the ground, "Well, because of the monsters coming out chasing me." And Michael would say, "They're certainly not chasing you. You made those monsters. You actually summoned them and gave them all their energy to be with your expectation. And they're coming out in loving answer to your call to show you where power is and that it is yours. They're doing you a service. They're your friends." When this finally got through to me, I found, I was along about the age of 10, that my nightmares, I got control of them by befriending everything in them that looked scary, realizing I had put them there and they were happening for me and through me. As the years went by, Michael generalized this understanding out into what we call the real world, asking me regularly, "My Cailín, why do you look for what you do not will to find?" And I thought that was a brilliant and pointed question, because as he tells me, in the end, and this is important for you to get into your understanding, to really contemplate, nothing exists until consciousness looks for it, until consciousness expects it. It does not exist. We, consciousness itself, are fishing out of the vast, limitless possibilities of quantum eminence, the field, whatsoever we put our minds upon. Which means that everything that's freaking us out, that's unfolding in the world today, is a brilliant opportunity for us to learn to think otherwise. Because in the sum of things, we are resting from absolute wide open possibilities, the probabilities that we do not want. We don't want them, and we're summoning them, like I called the monsters, with our dread. So it's up to us to befriend these circumstances and see them as opportunities, observing ourselves doing that while we're doing it. This is lucidity, and lucidity leads to empowerment. When you realize that your mind, you've been identified with it, and sleeping in identification with your mind, you couldn't fix it or change it because you believed you were it. Once you realize that you are not your mind, you're in fact its architect and supervisor, you begin to see that you can sculpt your experience by wielding your will and pointing your attention at what you want to create by imagifesting it, rather than summoning inadvertently the monsters that you dread. Unconsciously. And that's how we do it. So we really have to become committed to this lucidity, people. We have to center ourselves, observing our thoughts, observing the emotions they create, observing the way that affects our environmental apparent outcomes, our experience. And then we have to observe ourselves in the act of doing that. Because you are not your thoughts, your feelings, your story, your body, your mind. You are the consciousness that is observing the observer who is observing your mind, your body, your story, your self-talk, your emotions. So there's the you sleeping without any lucidity and identification with your story, your self-talk, etc. You think that's really you. To you becoming slightly more awake, and now you're observing the difference between your mind and you. The consciousness observing it all. The thing that you've been looking for is the thing that has been looking. You are it. You, consciousness itself. But there's one more step back from that to the I am, which is what you are, the I am consciousness. That's the only thing here. There's nobody here but you, and that includes me. There's nothing here but you. We are God. I am God. I am that I am. So are you. It's just that I'm a little more presently aware of it than you are. And so, even going through withdrawals, selling my house, planning a move across the ocean, the Atlantic, I'm still managing to focus my attention so that I don't just fall apart. Because, believe me, I'm not made of stone. And there is a human version of me that's identified with a very scary story she's sleeping in. And I keep reminding her, nothing happens or exists until consciousness expects it and looks for it. Don't look for what you do not will to find. So we have to get serious, people. I want you to observe that self-talk, and then observe yourself observing it. Go, aha, look it, here's me doing it again. It's that simple, just keep doing that, and it will provoke a gradual shift. And every time you take back your power from some self-talk that is neither true nor serving you, you get stronger in that lucidity. And that lucidity directed together at the outcomes we want, changing our energetic fields, our collective contribution to the field, changing that by focusing our attention on summoning what we will and allowing an emotional experience of that wonderful outcome to resonate through our bodies out into the field, out, to resonate a body and a situation out of the field, because that's the way it really works. I need you to do this. You need you to do this. Everything is going wacky again because not enough of us are consciously imagifesting what we will. Most of us are unconsciously summoning what we dread, the monsters. Okay, so when we see them, we have to let that wake us up every time we lose lucidity and get frightened by the monsters we've created. We have to realize we created them. We summoned them with our expectation. We summoned them with our unsupervised minds. We have to catch ourselves doing that so we can stop doing that. We have to stop summoning what we dread. Don't observe your mind when it's going down dark channels. Observe it. Be the observer of it. Notice, God darn it, there that mind goes again. That's not what I want it to do. Notice the way it makes your body feel. Not good when you allow worried self-talk to absorb your attention. Because that's what happens the moment we're afraid of imminent loss or death, suffering. We get very focused in the direction of the thing that we think might hurt us. And that is precisely the human thing to do. And so it is the wrong thing to do. Because if you want an experience of your mortality and an experience of your impotence to affect outcomes in the field, then yeah, go ahead. Focus on everything you're scared to death of. If you want to experience a growing experience of lucidity and emancipation from the apparently outside world that isn't outside, then observe your self-talk. Observe your reactions. Observe the way your emotions affect your experience. And then observe the observation itself. Observe that you're doing that. Notice that. Because nothing exists until consciousness looks for it. So when you look for this level of awareness, you notice it like the first time you wiggle your nose or your fingers when you learn to make this thing go. Same way, you have to notice a thing the first time in order to gain conscious access to it. Stop manifesting unconsciously the monsters, and when you do manifest monsters, realize you made them and turn around and befriend them. View them as an opportunity. Monsters don't get to fly. You do. I hope that helps. We love you all. Take it on board. Please be conscientious about exercising this. It's very important. Not only will you begin to feel better and better right away, but you'll begin to see it affect the world. And the more of us do it, the faster it affects the world. And the key is to give yourself permission to look for what you actually will, what the longing of your heart is, your heart's desire, to look for it to come true, to have faith in it, to believe in it, to focus on it, to expect it, to will it, to feel it ahead of time. Create for yourself a triumph scenario. Something that encapsulates for you metaphorically how you're going to feel and what you're going to be doing and what you will be like as the person who has overcome all of the present challenges and turn them into the opportunities they truly are. Focus on that over and over again. Imagifest it for yourself. Let your emotions get caught up in it. Okay? Resonate with that the emotional feeling of everything is actually going the way you will it to go. Hold that. Every time you start to think scary thoughts, go back to the triumph scenario. Do it again. Every time you practice it, it gets better and better and faster, and pretty soon you can just energetically flip yourself. Oh yeah, because you're lucid enough to say, yeah, the mind did it again. I lost lucidity and identification with scary self-talk. Okay, but I'm awake again now. You never know you've been unconscious until you wake back up. And that's okay. Keep practicing it. And have fun with it. Put out that little eye.